Yes, no, it's perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
I'm recording
awesome.
for more
Go
people
ahead.
to hear
Okay,
it.
awesome. Okay, so let's. I have. Can I share my screen, Patsy?
Yes.
Okay, I have a small presentation around everything that I just said before. You have the teasing. Now let's dive in. Hope. So, título. Why building on Starknet today? Why I think it's relevant, and what's my history, and how Starknet changed my life personally. So basically, to give you the beginning of the history, who am I? So right now, as I said, I did the speech right before for the people watching the video, but I'm working on Starknet for the last 1.5 years, and I co-founded a protocol called Starknet ID, where we had more than 200K clients. We distributed, which is a naming and identity service for Starknet. Sorry, I forgot about that for the video. We have more than 200 names registered, 200K names registered on Starknet mainnet, and we have more than 700K subdomains and names registered overall. So this was a pretty good success for me. And on top of that, we created other initiatives such as the Cairo book, which is some kind of the documentation for Cairo that you guys are learning right now, and some other games and projects in the ecosystem like Starkfighter, that was a mini game with 400K players. That was a good success. So this is basically a bit my resume, if I can say, on Starknet. And how did it all started? So 1.5 years ago, I would say more, 2 years ago now, I started exactly in the same position as you guys in a hackathon. And this was not in Brazil, not in Para. It was in Paris, France, where I lived at the time. Didn't live directly in Paris, so I had to take 1 hour of train, 2 hours of train, something like that, to go to Paris, go to the event, and meet all these builders. I was just here, so behind everyone, basically hiding, because I was too focused on winning the hackathon. Yeah, so it was a hackathon where I started experimenting with Cairo, with front end, connecting with the Cairo, and my goal at the time was to create a game. And then this led to another hackathon 1 week after, and it permitted me to create Starknet ID, the business that I'm in right now, and that permitted a good success for me afterwards. So on top of that, I don't know if you guys are closely following the ecosystem, but I met a bunch of people at this event for my first time that are still there. So here is an example of another French guy that is also my friend and hopefully the friend of Patty. I will not pronounce on that. But that was there also, and started his Starknet journey at the same moment. And he co-founded with me the Cairo book here, was a great supporter in the foundation, and found a very good job thanks to his beginning on the hackathon. So just to give you a bit this history to put you in perspective how a hackathon can change my perspective and my career, and might do the same with you. And here also we have my other friends Gabin that also created a company, and we'll see that after. So I guess you had some explanation about Starknet. Maybe you tested Starknet, but 1.5 years ago feels like a decade, because now maybe on the Starknet mainnet we have 40 TPS, 50 TPS, 60 TPS. But at the time we had 0.03 TPS. This was the max capacity. So it gives you a bit like the feeling of a decade, even in 1 year, in terms of technological improvement. We had no loops in Cairo, so you guys are all devs, you know what loops is. In Cairo, we didn't have loops, so we had to do recursion algorithm in order to code. That was a pain in the ass. That was very difficult to code in Cairo, and now Cairo is way easier than it used to be. And it's like Rust now. We can say this pretty easily. We didn't have any explorer. We didn't have any explorer for the transaction. So there's plenty of things that happened in 1 year Bridge was limited to $50, and the TVL was something like $50K. Now it's 350 million. So in 1 year, 1.5 years, we made tremendous growth. We saw a lot of good things, positive things coming, and just to give you this feel of in crypto, in blockchain, and especially Starknet, because we're early, it feels like 1 year feels like a decade, and this is an example of that. And when it comes to my own application, this was the beginning, the first front end of Starknet ID that I did in the hackathon that I presented just before, and this is what it looks like now. So we made a lot of changes. We changed all the infrastructure, all the front end, everything. So on this, we worked a lot, and I met a bunch of people along the way. So that's basically my story with Starknet and how it got all started, and how the last 1.5 years felt to me. And we had some good stories on this last 1.5 years. So I created Starknet ID. That was a good success for us. The guy that I presented right before wanted to create a company, but finally joined another company as one of their first employees / co-founder. We're not sure yet. The other guy that was in the hackathon founded his company, and his company at the beginning was struggling. Still, again, fully focused on Starknet, but at the beginning was struggling, and now is working really well. We're going to talk about that after. We have another example of someone joining Starknet in 2023. He learned a bit how it all works, then worked at the Ethereum Foundation. We're talking about people that are all 23, 22, 24, 20-something, or 30-something, or pretty early in their career. It was really a good opportunity for them to bump in their career. So it made me an entrepreneur. It made a lot of people go into companies, and it made him, the guy that we're talking about now, go to the Ethereum Foundation and then go to Polygon, which is not, of course, where I want you to go now, but that's still a good story of success. And another guy that spent 2 years working on his application, he on his Starknet application. The Starknet application didn't work out so well, so he just converted all the skills he learned in entrepreneurship, and he's now working for Starkware. So we had plenty of good success career-wise of young people that just started on Starknet, did the research, work on Cairo, build these apps, and either made the app successful entrepreneurship-wise, or just finished on a good company with some advantages and good salaries, etc., etc. So that's career-wise, we had some good ecosystem stories and opportunities, and I think it was only the beginning, because we didn't have a mature ecosystem at the time. We didn't have a token. We didn't have plenty of stuff that we have right now. And the best moment, I would say, the easiest at least, maybe not the best, but the easiest moment to start would be now. And to give you like a story a bit more detailed about the guy that I presented right before, his name is Gabin. This guy, I would say, struggled for like around 1 year to get funding to create his company, but continue to work on that and move forward on that. And now he is starting to make some success, and everything is exploding for Web3 with the ETF and everything that you know, but also for Starknet. And now his company really working well. He continued to work. He took that personally, some kind of a meme, and created his company. Is now sustainable. The company works. He has more than 10 people. He's profitable, and he recently raised another seed round to go further on that. So that was a bit some ecosystem stories to show you that Starknet is full of opportunities, more than the tech that is interesting, more than the hacker house that are fun. You can also create a career and do some interesting stuff around Starknet. Yeah, tell me. I heard some kind of a question. No?
Sorry. No. Keep going, please.
Okay, so yeah, that was just to give you some examples of people that had some good career opportunities in Starknet, including myself. So after all of these examples that you have, so again, another example. In 1 year, we did 700K domains on mainnet. Some part as sold, some part as given for free, but still it permitted us to have a good business. A friend of mine, Avenue, in 1 year, he has more than 100 million of volume. First-time entrepreneurs, all these projects that you can use and see on Starknet are in general made by 20-something that are first-time entrepreneurs that do not have a big, long resume of coding in Solidity, of coding in Web 2, building companies in Web 2, all of these. And Starknet gave them the opportunity to start in a fresh environment, to start in an environment where the people don't have so much skills, are not so much higher than you, just because we are early in Cairo and in all the tech stack around it. Which is not the case for Web3 and EVM, because it's been around now for 7-8 years, and we start to see some real experts, and it's getting difficult to get at their level. When for Starknet, you still have a lot of opportunity as it's early. So why I'm saying that, just because, as I said, I want to give you the perspective that there is opportunity on Starknet, but we're still early, blah, 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 but it might not last long. So the opportunity can be gone. I don't know if you guys have the reference, but it can disappear out of the air if you wait too much, or if you don't take the chance you have right now to have some time to understand the tech and build apps in a apparently beautiful environment that I don't see. I am in a co-working of Lisbon right now, which is not as great and good looking as Brazil, I'm sure. But yeah, all of that to say that the opportunity there is might not last forever, and there is a small window where you can take it and really dive into this ecosystem to take these opportunities, but it might not last forever. So with everything that I just said, the question you can ask yourself is, okay, you have all these examples, the guys that did this, that, this, it seems complicated. I'm only Web 2 developer. What to do now? What do I do? I guess you have a presentation from Henri to know how you can get involved, how you can start developing, how you can start technically getting involved. And my philosophy on that is that, and what I'm trying to push here would be to try to make an application, to have an idea, and to start to do something that can be not commercial at the beginning, but that can be interesting for you to test all the stack, and to why not make a real project after this Hacker House. So to summarize why I think you should build on Starknet today and why Starknet is an opportunity. First, we have a promising tech where you're early on. So why we have the promising tech? Because we have account abstraction, we have certain stuff, technical stuff that I'm sure Henri presented you before that are really different from the other chains and the other Web3 ecosystem. And that's a risk, but that's also an opportunity. And for me, it was an opportunity, and especially for people that do not have so much experience in Web3, so much experience in building companies or in working with tech in general. That is very cool, because you can be very, very fast part of the expert of the industry. You have funding for all the project level now, which I didn't have at the time. Meaning that now, if you want you have an idea, you started building something in this hackathon, and you want to keep it, you want to push on that, but you still have to live. I'm sure that Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro rent levels are high now, so you have to live on top of them. You have to eat your pão de queijo. You have to do.
Essas coisas, né?
Yeah.
You need money for paçoca.
Sorry.
No. That's a joke.
Yeah, so the joke between continents is not fast enough, but I'm sure it was a good joke if we were physically together. Yeah, so funding for all projects. So if you want to continue, you can live on that. you can ask for a grant, and you will have a small grant that will permit your co-founder, to continue maybe to invest in some kind of small softwares here and there, and to live for a few months in order to really give a chance to your idea. And then if you're a bigger project, you have bigger grants, and it can go to several millions of dollars. So it's really, really interesting. And you have really funding opportunities also on Starknet, on top of having a promising technology. And the last one is like, you have, for the moment, that's the window I talked about before, very little dev competition when you compare it to the other the other protocols and the other things that are being built on Web3, just because Starknet chose, in order to have a very promising tech, Starknet chose to build another one, a new tech, another tech stack that is, of course, not very popular at the beginning, because we're still at the beginning, so with Cairo and everything, so you have very little dev competition, and that's to me an opportunity. So that's the whole big picture of the Starknet opportunity. And now, again, what to do in the hackathon. So my idea would be to start with an idea that you think is cool and try to vote. Yep.
There is a question.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, there is a question.
Just
Sorry.
quick question, sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to know if you have some numbers on the amount of developers that are in Starknet, or the amount of projects that are live at the moment. Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I can bring you some numbers about the projects. So I would say serious projects that are really aiming to do an app and following it on more than 6 months. I would say there is around 25, 35, between 25 and 35 projects that are live right now on mainnet, etc. Maybe there is approximately the same amount that are being worked on right now, and it's, in my opinion, it will be an exponential, meaning more projects will come, more money will come. If more money, more project, etc., etc. And in terms of developers, there is a difference between a developer and an entrepreneur. So a developer that will create a project and try to push it, create an app, try to push it, try to make everything outside the dev side, so the design, the marketing, and everything, and just a developer. So I think in terms of a developer that codes, you have all the developers that are doing infrastructure. So the guys that are building Cairo, the guys that are building Starknet, yes, the guys that are building everything around the tech stack. And there is a lot of developers in that matter, because we have to rebuild from scratch. But in terms of building app and building something for the user, that's where I'm talking about the opportunity. I think both are an opportunity, but there is a better opportunity, at least it's my experience, to go build an app, just because, as I said, there's 20 to 35 apps, and in terms of developers, there's maybe 500 developers that are here on the ecosystem, working for companies that are building infrastructure, or working for companies that are building apps, etc. Is that, do you have any?
Thank you. No, great perspective, because it is really early, but as you said, don't wait. We need to keep moving and create. Our aim here is to create apps for the user from Brazil, right? So thinking also in our context.
Yeah, and as I said, like on the example that I had, the worst thing that could happen is that you build your app for 6 months, you get some seed grants. You're not like negative, okay? So you can live on that, no problem. And the worst thing that could happen here is that, okay, maybe you did something bad, or you didn't have luck, etc. Your app doesn't work. But you built along the way a lot of skills that are useful for other apps. So the worst thing that could happen is that you can have a $50K, $100K job and working for other apps. So that's the worst thing that could happen. I guess in Brazil, having a 50K or 100K job is very good. Here in Portugal, it's very good also. In France, it's very good. It's only in the States where, okay, maybe it's not the best salary, but everywhere outside, it's a very good situation. So the worst thing that could happen is you ending in a good situation. So I guess the risk is not that high, especially if you're young and hungry. But that's my way of seeing things. And as I started right after the studies, it's easier. So yeah, and in terms of, to finish a bit, and then we can like have a discuss about everything that you have in terms of ID. I don't know if you start already like building some stuff, getting some ideas out of the box, working on some ideas, working on some codes maybe. But to give you like a fresh start, especially if you don't know Web3 so much, I have a few ideas to give you. Ideas that I would do if I wasn't busy and doing what I do right now. The first one will be a decentralized Celsius Nexo, meaning, okay, so in Starknet, we have account abstraction, which permits to have a very good UX, user experience, user interface, user experience most probably, while still keeping the self-custody. So while still having the funds in your wallet, while still you being able to move the funds when you want without asking anyone. And Celsius or Nexo, I don't know if these services are available in Brazil, but these were available in general over Europe and over the United States and maybe a bit over South America. But these services permitted you to just lend your crypto for a yield, for some money. Não sei como dizer em português, mas rendimento, coisa como isso.
Yes.
Rendimentos.
Rendimentos. So that was the only goal of the app, is basically you put some Bitcoin in, some Ethereum, so USD, and it gives you a yield. But the problem of these apps were it was centralized, so you don't know what the company is doing with your funds. And Celsius did some bad stuff with your fund and lost it all because they took too much risk and went to zero. But it was a very big company. It worked very well in Europe, and it was like almost $1 billion company. And I don't see an app that will do exactly what they did, but just self-custody without taking your funds and doing it for you, but just by proposing you costlessly something to invest, not to invest in Ethereum, but to have yield on your Ethereum, to have yield on your USD. And that is very difficult to do if you don't have account abstraction, because if you don't have account abstraction, there is always the 24 words, the management of the seed phrase. If you lost it, you lost all your funds, etc. But here, with account abstraction and everything that we have on Starknet, you don't have that. So my idea would be to do a mobile app that is very, very simple. So let's say for Brazilian case, you go to your father and you say your father has some race that he keeps like in case of a bad day, or in case of a bad month, in case he loses his job. You can say you can put your race here and they are doing 10%. Of course, in DeFi, there is no race, there is only USD, but that's the idea. The idea is you put some USD, you get 5-10%. That is pretty good. And especially if the USD is outperforming the race, it's even better for your father. So that would be an idea that I could build if I wasn't working on Starknet ID right now. Another idea would be habit tracker apps. Do you know, guys, what is a habit tracker app?
Yes.
Okay, so
we kind of build one, but not on Starknet. We build it on Polygon. It's actually in beta phase, and it's called Goals. Yeah, we built a mobile app with Flutter and made we gamified all the process to make it more fun and everything.
For setting up goals, right?
Yes.
So this would have been not this RD particularly, but the habit tracker apps in general is something that I like because first is overall a good thing for humanity, but also it's fun and you have some good already product market fit on Web2. So people that are succeeding with these And you have some start of successful companies on Web3 like Steppen, like Focus3, like other projects, I'm sure, that are just taking this habit tracker apps or habits building apps and moving it to Web3, adding some gamification with NFTs and some exactly what you said. And that would be something that I would do, especially in the health sector, where you can track your jogging with Steppen, for example, but you can also track your calories, how much you're eating, and gamify the diet. And diet is way bigger as a market than running, so it's a very big thing. And I guess even like the Brazilian domestical market of diet is huge. So there's plenty of stuff to do on that side. Yeah, that would be my ideas, my 2 ideas that I would build. But you have like maybe 100 ideas on this website that is alliance.xyz/ID. And this website gives you a lot of ideas, that things that works you can do in crypto. So here you have real world assets, you have crypto neobanks. There is difficult stuff like crypto neobanks. Okay, that's you need a lot of stuff to build that. You need the papers, you need to work with the government, whatever. Reward asset maybe the same, but the habit tracker app is pretty straightforward. The centralized selfies is pretty straightforward also. You don't have to ask any authorities anything. So you have a lot of stuff here. 10K PFPs, hybrid formation apps, decentralized scientific crowdfunding, blah, 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 plenty of stuff. I'm sure if there is a math teacher, is in the university, maybe he knows about it. So yeah, plenty of stuff to have ideas and to rebound on and to talk about, have some brainstorming. So yeah, that's my final message would be dive a bit into this idea, and we don't really care about the idea at the beginning. What we want to dig is create the first app, create the first stuff in this hackathon, and then see if you want to move forward with it. And if you don't, do another hackathon. This is what I did. I did 3 hackathons before finding the idea that I wanted to build on. And the hackathon is a pretty good experience. Like you're in a good house with intelligent people. You have free food. It's pretty pleasant. I mean, I did this like all my my summer in Paris and France, and it was pretty pleasant on itself. And then I started really working on Starknet ID, but it's a pretty cool experience. You learn a lot, and at some point, launch it. And as I said, you have a pretty small window, but the window is there. So yeah.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe someone wants to share their ideas and have them feedback. Don't be shy.
Yeah, I can start. Last day I was talking with Timothy, and he suggests like choose make a dark pool at depth in Starknet. I want to know what you think about it, if you have some advice or anything like that.
Can you repeat? Make a dark pool, you said?
Yes, a dark pool. It's in DeFi area. It's like a pool where you hide your intentions of buying it, the asset in the case, and after it only gets revealed after the transaction is already made. You know, so it made major for big players in the market to kind of exchange their assets without having slippage problems and things like that. Okay,
so on that idea, I don't know the market so well, but I cannot comment on that. But Timothy is a pretty smart guy, so I'm pretty sure it's a good idea. But my advice would be for you to do something that you truly understand and that you already use, most probably. So that's why I said reward assets, neobanks. It's something a bit off the chart, a bit difficult if you're not experienced a bit to work with all of the paper stuff and everything. But if you want to do that, you can do that, of course. And for example, me, I was really a GGen that was using DeFi and using NFTs and betting on this, on that in the blockchain before being a Web3 developer, and I'm still a DGen. So I built what I wanted to see. I built what I used because it's easier for me to understand the needs of the user because I was a user. So that would be my advice. If you don't really understand why a dark pool is relevant in the current ecosystem, if you are not sure about, okay, maybe it talks to institutional clients and I'm not an institutional, I don't really understand how the institutional market works, maybe that's not the first idea to go on. Because there will be people that either worked on this industry or know it really well because they are interacting with it on a day-to-day basis that will do it. But the cool thing is right now on Starknet, you have so much thing available and possibly that you can do and be the first on it that that you have really a wide range of ideas. So to give you the brief response is that I don't know especially the ideas and how it works, the idea that pool and how it works. But if you think like you understand why it's relevant because you know something that most of people don't, then go for it. But if it's just like a random idea that I throw by Timothée because he knows, he thinks it's relevant because he knows, and you're like, I'm taking it because maybe he knows, and you don't make the homework in order to really understand why it's a good opportunity, then don't go for it and go for something that you understand more. That would be my idea.
Sure. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Nice.
You are shy today.
Everyone is shy.
Podemos falar em português. Pois perguntar em português e vou dar uma resposta em inglês.
Quando que você vai vir para o Brasil?
Não sei. E mais ou menos 6 meses. Uma coisa como isso.
Boa.
A primeira vez.
Próximo Hacker
A
House.
próxima Hacker House.
Eu não sei o que é isso, mas aproxima-se.
É onde nós estamos agora. Agora é Hacker House.
Aqui estamos na Hacker House.
Próximo Hacker House. Ok, sim. Vamos. Quando vou estar aqui.
Legal.
Legal.
Deixa a gente marcar a data ainda.
Isso.
Não, nosso objetivo é fazer isso cada 6 meses, mais ou menos, para continuar construindo a comunidade aqui, né? E ter mais projetos nascendo do Brasil.
E tudo em tempo em floresta, Amazônia e tudo? Ou
Só lugar bonito e espero que não muito frio.
Já pegamos Starknet. No próximo a gente quer fazer no Rio, Amazonas. Ficar uma semana.
Ok. É mais fácil de ir a Rio.
Bem, eu queria perguntar para você sobre o seu projeto, sobre o Starknet ID. Eu uso, eu tenho o meu, mas queria perguntar quais são os planos de vocês, quais são as aplicações no futuro que vocês estão imaginando, como que o pessoal está usando, um pouquinho para inspirar aqui a conversa.
Ok. So I will answer this in English because answering this in Portuguese will be very long for you. I don't want you to wait 1 hour for the response. So right now our current plan is to finalize what we started. So we have to work on the audit and we have to work on interoperability with the other naming service of Web3. So we have an announcement this week about it. So hope you guys will follow, but we have an announcement this week. We worked with the Solana naming service, with the Solana Foundation in order to have this interoperability, and now we are working with other ecosystems. That will be the idea, but overall, most of the features we wanted to build are here, and now we are working towards making the ecosystem bigger, making the ecosystem better, because obviously the business is very linked to how the Starknet ecosystem is doing. So we will build little apps that will be available to domains, to people that have a domain. We will do this kind of presentation. We will be working on with the foundation, with their programs, their grant programs, their everything around that. So the idea is that we will, of course, continue to build features on Starknet ID, but the main work is done. Now we have to make the whole Starknet ecosystem and Starknet ID more easy to integrate, more easy to be worked on, and that's a big job. So we have still work on the table.
Fantastic. And what has been your main challenge in this process, this year and a half, in terms of being an entrepreneur? Because we are talking a lot about technical things here, but at the end of the day, being an entrepreneur is another different beast. So what have been your challenges and your advice for people starting the journey?
Yeah, so I would say like the first challenges were in the first six months where we were only on testnet. And on testnet at the time, mainnet wasn't ready at all. As you saw, 0.03 TPS, you cannot launch on that. It's impossible to have a correct, not a good, a correct UX, which is now we have like hundreds of TPS, so it's not a problem. But at the time, we were waiting for this mainnet. And we had a very simple application, UX-wise and technical-wise. And at the time, the focus of the whole ecosystem was more on infrastructure, etc. So we didn't have a lot of support overall from the ecosystem. Nobody really in my small town in France really understood what I was doing. So during 6 months, like the difficulty was nobody really understood what I was doing, and I had no feedback from the market saying it was good. So that was the difficult part on the first 6 months, and then. The difficult part is just trying to not. I'm trying to find a translation in English, but to keep pushing, always keep pushing to try to see if we can do other stuff, if we can have a better UX, have better features, have more products, have etc. etc. Keep pushing to really have something good at the end. Maybe hire someone. That was the first step for us, to hire the first person, because we didn't raise money. We were fully like revenue comes in, we have money, now we can invest it, but we didn't ask money from the venture capitals and stuff. We weren't working like that. So it was like everything learning more by myself, I would say. And in the first 6 months, it was difficult because I didn't have feedback from anyone that what I was doing was good. And then I launched. We had a very good success on the launch, and I had all the feedback of 6 months of work in one day, in like 24 hours. So after that, it was way easier because I had the feedback constantly. I had the feedback that what I was doing was good or bad. And that kept me going. Each time I make a mistake, I fix. Each time I do something good, I'm happy and I do something good after. But the first 6 months without feedback were difficult. So my opinion on that, if I have to take something out of that, is try to get feedback as much as possible from the market. Meaning your mom will always tell you you're beautiful and it's a great app you just built. But this is, your mom is not using Web3, okay? So try to launch as fast as possible, and to put yourself out there as fast as possible, to ask for the seed grant or the funding as fast as possible, to launch everything as fast as possible, to have this feedback and maybe change ID or change stuff, so you catch this opportunity, this window. It's not like work every day, all the day. Maybe work every day, yes, but not all the day. But just try to say, okay, is what I'm doing very useful? Because sometimes you can find yourself like checking your mails and doing some useless stuff. Like, especially for developers, it's really easy to refactor and making tests, things that the user don't care about. So I would say at the beginning, the test on the contract, of course, you test. But on the front end, the test, the refactoring, it's okay if it's ugly at the beginning. If it's okay, all of that. But launch, see what is the overall reaction. And the cool thing about Web3 is that you can launch and have people come. In Web2, you launch, nobody cares. In Web3, as people maybe have a token, airdrop, whatever, people come and give you feedback. And you have feedback, because in Web2 you launch, nobody cares. You have to do marketing and you have to do Facebook ads or stuff like this to have some people reading and seeing your stuff. But in Web3 that was the easy thing. We just put the website out there and people started to come and started to do stuff. And then we pushed with marketing, but that's the good thing. If you're only a dev in Web2, in Web3, you can start. Not succeed, but start. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Great.
I have another one. I have many questions, so if you keep asking.
I have one question then, just so we keep ping-ponging. I have one question is, should we worry about tokenizing our projects? Is this something that should go in our radar? Or should we if we create something on Starknet, we can just use Stark tokens as we consider that as the main one, and we don't really care about the rest?
Well, it depends. I would say, for example, let's say Starknet ID doesn't have a token right now on purpose, because in Europe, building a token is kind of problems legally, and we have to if we want to do it, we have to prepare it and to make it a good success. So it's taking time. So I would say, if your project can work without a token, like for Starknet ID, we don't have token, and it's working. The token is not a feature of the product, so you don't care about the token at the beginning. But if your project is basically maybe the project on itself is a token, meme coins, whatever, real world assets, the project on itself is a token. The project on itself is having a token where you can put money in and it's backed by an asset in real life. If the project on itself is really, you need a token to do it, then yes. But if it's not the case, I would say that you can care about that later, and when you will actually be 100% sure that this is what you want to build for the next months, and this has potential, and then the token will help you to reach the potential, adding some farmers and speculation and stuff, because this is all tools that you can use. But the token at the beginning is, in my opinion, most probably not a good idea. For most of the apps, for most of the things that you built, it's most probably not a good idea. But for example, a habit tracker app, the token is, if you're doing with Web3, etc., you need it at some point, but you don't need it for the first 1 year or the first 2 years, because people are already using habit tracking apps on Web2. There's no tokens, and it works well. So yeah, that will be my response. But that's my opinion, and there's different opinions in the space. It's all depends on the project. If your project is some kind of a DAO, or only a DAO about only no app behind it, maybe token makes sense on the first day. But yeah.
Okay, nice, thank you.
And another question on the business side, because you said that Starknet ID started with revenue from day one, right? And you were not funded by a VC, which is fantastic. Congrats on that. Any insights on the business side, the business model? Could you share a little bit about the structure that you have, the business plans at the moment, in the future, where the money coming from, how much from, I mean, the types of users that are paying, etc.
Okay, so on the business side, we have the chance to have a really simple business model that proved itself and works really well and is it's profitable. It's really profitable. But software in general is very profitable, but Starknet ID is also, because basically the business model in Starknet ID, you buy a domain that is a .stark domain, and you rent this domain for around $20-ish a year. It depends on the price of it. If it goes too much up, it's more than that, and we will adjust the price. But the price is, to be exact, 0.009 ETH, which was at the time we launched $12, and it's now 30 something. but we will adjust that. But let's say it's $25, and we have people that have names and that pay for these names every year. So this is a business model where we need, in order to live, we need a lot of people, a lot of clients, because it's $25 a year, which make it $2 a month, which is not a big pricing. So we need a lot of people. But the pricing is pretty straightforward. You pay your domain, we receive the money, and we spend it with the devs, and this is how it works. And if we want more money in, the easy thing to do is just being able to have more clients with domains, or to make them renew for several years in the future. So rent it for several years in advance. But this is pretty straightforward. It's just more domains for longer, basically. So this is it's a really easy business to understand. And in terms of business plans, everything, I never made one, because the business is really easy. I just need to put people in buying domains and to make them renew. And then I think on that. I think, okay, how can I acquire these people and how can I retain them? This is just the plan. And then business-wise, we have accounting, etc. So do you have any more questions on that front? Because as it was a very big question, like how do you manage the business? Maybe you can be more precise.
That was actually the intention was to show that it doesn't need to be super complex. It's a really simple business model that is creating revenue from day one, and you're managing that. So we don't need to be like, I mean, to start, it doesn't need to be like super complex business model and 5 years planning and everything. We can just reinvent business that are already working on the Web2 world and try to bring them to Starknet. So
that's the idea. And selling NFTs in general, well, I'm not selling NFTs, I'm renting NFTs, because the domain is an NFT, but it's the same category, I would say. Is pretty easy to do technically, pretty easy to do in terms of marketing, to have some money in, and pretty sustainable if you do it in the right way. So it's the best, to me, the best business model on Web3, because you have maybe Uniswap is doing a lot of money, maybe more than all the other protocols, and Aave is putting a lot of money, but they need billions of dollars to make all this money. They need billions of dollars in. With 1,000 users, I make 25K a month. So, okay, 1,000 users is a lot, maybe. With 100 users, I mean 2,500 a month. With 2,500, with my old way of living in France, I was really okay to live on 6 months with 2,500. And I guess in Brazil, it's even easier. So if you live well in Brazil, I guess with 2,500, you can live with 2-3 people on that, 2 co-founders or on that. I don't know the prices, guys. So, but I know that here in Portugal, you can live with that pretty comfortably.
Oops. Sorry, go ahead.
So you need 100 clients a month at 25 each, and or you need 10 clients at 250 each, which is even more easy. So if you think like this with NFT, because you're doing 100% margin, you don't pay except you and maybe some small servers, but yeah, that's pretty easy business models. And for example, habit tracking app, you just step in, they sold the shoes, the NFT shoes. and the people run with the shoes, and they made a bunch of money. They made millions of dollars with this.
That's a fantastic way to put it. How much money do you need to live, and how much this business needs to create for you and your team, and what do you need to keep it running? And that could be your first goal. Because when we move in the startup world, that you see people with these incredible expectations of becoming a unicorn, and that's fantastic. That's good. Some get to that, but it could be as easy as, okay, what's the type of life I want to have for me and my team, and that's it. That's enough, right? Something that works, that is fun, that is easy to maintain, and that keeps us going. That could be the goal.
Basically, my ambition went up with time. At the beginning, when I was working on Starknet, I was like, if that brings like 5,000 a month, that would be incredible. Now it's bringing more than that because we have 10 people living in Europe working with us, and if I knew what we've done like 2 years ago, I would have been, wow, incredible. It seems very difficult to do. But I just look at the next step, and then when I reach this step, I look at the next one, etc., which at the end makes you do very big things and great things. So that would be my opinion on that. But yeah, like when I saw that we crossed the 5K, I was like, yeah, easy. I'm going to live in Spain. Like we're gonna continue for that forever.
That's the goal.
Sorry?
No.
I think we're in the hour, right?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ben. I think it's the first time I see you giving a talk. I unfortunately haven't been to any of your other talks you gave, but it was so good. Thank you for sharing your stories, being very inspiring.
Thank you. Obrigado.
And well, hope to see you soon. Maybe we all see you in Brussels. Maybe some of us see you in Brussels. But yeah, it would be very nice.
It's on the app, guys. Now it's up to you. You have I can send to Patty the IDs and stuff, and you can, if you guys need it. And then how are we in the week? Are we in the middle, in the beginning?
We are on
Day 3.
Day 3. Yeah,
Day 3
day 3 of 12. We can add you to the Telegram group. Is that okay?
Yeah. So you're still in the motivational phase. That was my role today. And guys, you have 10 days now to bring it, to pump it, to do something good.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Obrigado. Tchau.
Tchau. Bom dia para você aí na França.
Também. Bom dia.
Portugal. Lisboa.